Hi, and welcome back to another episode of The Story Records. I'm your host Faz, as per usual, and in today's episode, we'll be talking about the issues that correlate to the fourth short story you can find on my Ko-fi shop titled Block. Now, before we begin, I've been told, because earlier this month I went to meet up with my friends. I say earlier this month as if this episode is going to come out in March. But anyway, so earlier in March, whatever, you get the point. So yeah, I met my friends. We went to go watch the Jujutsu Kaisen movie. It was pretty good. We kind of got in late because transportation, but it's okay. We still got most of the contacts. It was a good movie. I had a good time. Can't wait for season 2. Either way, yeah. So I met up with my friends, and I was told by one of my friends that my podcast most of the time have nothing to do with the stories at all, because I'll just go on like this tangent talking about what I've been going through. And if I'm going to be honest, I like to keep it that way. I mean, as much as I like to discuss more about the story, I still, I feel like it'd work much better if I record an episode right after I finish a story, because that inspiration is still pretty fresh in my mind. And granted, it's on me for not doing that earlier, but this is something I've been working on back in December. I'm not going to give reasons to say I don't have the time to do that and yada yada. It's just a poor miscalculation on my end. And in a way, I find it's kind of charming, If I just talk about the story, that wouldn't be as interesting either. But whatever, we'll see how it goes in the future once I get to sync stories and episodes together, now that this is the final episode from the December batch of stories. But yeah, just wanted to say that. Now back to the story. Block. So I don't really know what to classify this as, and I probably should have looked up what kind of genre this kind of story falls into, because there's not really an overarching plot. It's literally just one character. I guess you could consider it a character study of some sorts, because I'm going through the thought process of this one character named Kasturi, the only character in the story, and the conflict he has to face as he's rushing to meet his deadline and get his work done as well as he can. And in other words, it's also just me venting or projecting into the story, because I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in the previous episode, but I wrote Block while I was going through a writer's block with The Moment She Realized, because romance isn't something I'm entirely confident with. So throughout writing the story, I got demotivated because I'm not too sure if it's going the right way, like if it's even romance material. Yeah, I've talked about that in the last episode, so I'm not going to go too much into that, but I had a major writer's block in the middle of writing the previous short story, so I decided to take a break around like a week, and I came back to continue the story, and I realized I still couldn't do anything. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna write something quick and short, something new, quick and short, get it done, and see what they'll do to me. Like, see if that can spark inspiration. So I wrote this story. I wrote Block, and surprisingly, it actually did spark inspiration, despite being like two completely different genres and starting with completely different premises. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess writing something like this helped reorganize my thoughts, like how I wanted to put the words together, if the words can invoke any feeling. It was something I was focusing way too much on for The Moment She Realized, that when I wrote this, which was essentially just me venting, I realized that I'm not supposed to be focused on making the words evoke feelings. I'm starting this whole thing for fun, so I should be writing for fun. I shouldn't be pressured to think, is this good enough? Is this, does this make sense? I feel like as I'm trying to get better as a writer, I should have as much fun and freedom as I can in terms of writing, to really kind of like find where I sit and find my style and whatever. But yeah, so block is really just that. Like I said, it's just me venting and projecting myself into the story. And I guess I'll talk about what it's about, right? I mean, there's not really much to say because it's a pretty straightforward story. Kasturi has 12,000 words of worth of essay. Wait, what? 12,000 words for an... I can't speak. So he has like 12,000 words to submit the next day. And this assignment has been assigned to him since 2 weeks ago, but he thought he'd be done by then. Like, he thought it wouldn't be much of an issue, so he didn't start working on it immediately. Thus happened due procrastination. And now he's only like 24 hours away from the deadline. He's rushing to complete it, starting from scratch, starting from zero, no reference material, no nothing. So yeah, it's something I'm pretty sure a lot of people have been through. But me personally, I've never had to submit 12,000 words of individual words for an essay. Like 12,000 words for an individual assessment. It's not something I have to do just yet. For group work, yeah, but individually, it's not something I have experience in. So personally, that is something I've exaggerated, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'm pretty sure there are lots of other people out there who have to do this, and I mean, I'm not saying it's unrealistic. I'm just saying it's not something I had to go through. But either way, yeah, he had to rush to meet the deadline, and along the way, he realized how, I wouldn't say terrible, just bad the quality of his work is, because it didn't feel authentic. You know, like he didn't have enough time to cater the words, to cherry pick specific information that could back up some of his like ideas and, you know, just his words in general. And in a sense, he feels like his work quality is just bad because he's rushing, and he feels bad to himself because he's pretty much doing this to himself, like, right? Like, he's presenting an image to his lecturer like, oh yeah, this kid just writes like any other person. I mean, there's nothing wrong in being average, of course, but in some sense, you also want to like give your own flair to things sometimes, and, you know, just relying on a paraphrasing tool or rushed scheming over articles and rushing to, you know, type things down. You don't really have much time to thoroughly go through your thoughts. And yeah, simply put, he's just not satisfied with the quality of work. And at that point, he's just like, okay, I just want to get this done. There's nothing I can do about it now because I slacked off. I deserve this. And yeah. So you can clearly I'm projecting here because it's something I tend to feel whenever I'm rushing to get a work done. This doesn't always happen to me, but whenever it does, it feels terrible. And yeah, which is why I try my best to get things done as early as I can. Although it still happens, but yeah. And while we're on the topic of like writer's block and, you know, rushing to meet deadlines, this month has been interesting for me. It's nothing too crazy. It's just that it's the least productive I've been ever. And I'm not exactly proud of it either, because I have a lot of work in progresses that I have yet to finish, which is disappointing because I was targeting to release a story next month, or this month, depending on when this episode comes out, that is. I was planning to release an episode in April. Sorry. Oh yeah, both an episode and a story in April. But, you know, like the story I planned to release in April has still yet to meet its climax. So I'm not too sure how that will go. Maybe I'll pull up with a short story because the one I'm working on is chaptered. It's a longer story novel. It's not like novel level lengthy, but it's like longer than my usual stories. But yeah, it's in the works. And then again, I also don't want to like rush it because I want to really pay attention to it and, you know, insert as many details as I can because it's something I've been working since last year. But yeah, other than that, Yeah, there's also another story I planned on writing because I was watching. I don't remember what I watched, but I think it was last month, or was it a month before? I watched a show. I don't remember which show it was, but one of the shows I watched sparked this inspiration inside of me. Like, I wanted to write a coming of age story that revolves around 4 characters, which are essentially the main characters of the story, of a group of friends, basically. But I already have the draft down. Like, I already have like a rough idea of what the characters would behave like. I just hadn't started properly. I just hadn't properly started the story yet. I have like a line or two that I wrote that I want to include in the story. I just don't have the entire thing yet. But yeah, I wanted to write that. It never happened. It's the other day I opened the document. I just stared at it. I was like, what do I do with you now? I mean, I know what I want to do with you, but how do I start this? And then I just closed it and went to watch videos on YouTube because I have nothing else to do. And yeah. Oh yeah, random, but congratulations to you if you're currently furthering your degree or anything in your studies, diploma, degree, PhD, master's, whatever. Yeah, congratulations. I hope, things go well for you. It's a new chapter of your life, literally. So yeah, I hope you have a good time, and I hope you gain a lot from this, because I just submitted my submission request for my bachelor's. My god, I can't speak. My bachelor's like 3 days ago, and I'm not quite sure when they'll call over for like an interview or for admission, but yeah, now I'm just gonna wait, probably get a job, like a part-time job or something somewhere, because I need money to get a new laptop. I just thought I'd talk about that, but yeah. I feel like this episode isn't as long as any of the previous episodes because I think I covered most of what I wanted to say. And oh yeah, no songs. I didn't listen to anything while I was writing this because it was literally me not rushing, like I was speed typing. Like I was just writing whatever that came to mind. And I reread it recently. Well, not recently. I reread it just now, actually. And I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. Like the words were pretty well coordinated, and I liked how it ended up. Although it wasn't a story that had any plot to begin with, it's literally just words. I mean, it has a conclusion, but it doesn't have like an overarching story over it. It's literally just that. And well, I mean, that's what makes it a short story. But yeah. Anyway, I guess I'll end this episode here. Here's to hoping that there will be an episode in April. That will depend if there's a story that's gonna drop in April. Also, almost forgot, I'm gonna be uploading episodes on YouTube now as well. Originally, I thought I'm just gonna upload it on YouTube and forget about Spotify because what's the point? The episodes get deleted anyway. But I'm like, you know what? I'll just keep it up on Spotify. I don't care if it gets deleted because it's still gonna be on YouTube, right? But yeah. I'll see you in the next. Have a good day. Bye.